How we kick it off this week?
Episode 2, McGregor Masterclass. Disappointment in the Welsh capital, though.
Oh,
But before we roll the intro, shout out to Big Bernie 7260 and Paul K 1911, keeping the other side completely informed with what they are. Fucking irrelevant. Roll the intro, Morg.
hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Football Podcast, Season 4, Episode 2. My name is Fennan, and joined alongside me, a man who we've just had a nice little chat before we went live, and we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to cover it very quickly, but Mayhem, how are you doing, my good man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Back. Episode 2, 6 points. Mondays always feel better when you're top of the league. And yeah, like you said, a lot of interaction on one of the previous episodes.
The season finale got a massive response, over 700 views. We got a couple of new subscribers, so I thank you all to the viewers for subscribing and tuning in. But of course, with all football podcasts, you always have your critics, and there was one or two comments that didn't quite like what we were talking about. But
Shocked.
But thankfully they came to our defence as well. Help was on the way.
They're from a certain part of Glasgow. I mean, to even fair play to you, mate, because you're driving up our views, interaction in the comments. Keep coming, boys. Keep coming. But get one of yous on, to be honest. Get one of yous on, have a chat with you, and inform you as to absolutely how pathetic it is
Exactly.
to be clicking.
So, boys, if they got the balls of steel, and I'm talking about the right steel, unlike your football club can't fucking get, jump on here, mate, and we'll have a nice chat about it.
I can imagine that would end pretty abruptly. But no, look, it was obviously, like we said before, that we do this because we love it and we enjoy it and just love, chatting utter gob from two people that don't claim to be anything other than football fans. But yeah, it's the bigger you get, the more you're gonna. And I mean, I say bigger, 31 subscribers. I mean, we're basically fucking the biggest thing going there.
Mate, we were sitting on 25 this time last week. It's a big fucking. It's a bit of a spurt over the last 7 days.
You're gonna draw interest from the other side. I mean, I couldn't think of anything literally further from what I'd want to do than click on one of their podcasts or one of their clips and listen, especially after I knew that was the season finale. So they were going to be recapping or potentially talking about the season that we absolutely fucking tanked. And obviously, when it went live at that point, they was already 2 points behind us. So fair play to you, boys. Fair play. Good for you.
Yeah. And of course, they had to, hit below the belt as well in regards to the reason behind this whole settlement case regarding a very, very delicate topic, which I don't want to give light to because I feel it's absolutely disgusting for what had happened. And I don't feel the settlement kind of justifies as to why Celtic aren't spending the money to improve the squad, but it's something that they'd like to do, and that is to pull out ammunition that is just far too fucking delicate to bring up on a fucking podcast.
See when all you've got is last season winning one trophy, a trophy that the season before that you said was a Diddy Cup, and that's what you've managed to do. You've tanked the league, you fucked up the final against your biggest rivals, Adam Idah, the boy. All right, silence you. And you said he was a panic buy in January, and then he scores the winner. See, when you've got all this rolling, you're buying absolute fucking nobodies from the back arse of nowhere, signing people on free from Aberdeen, pretending that they're fucking the next Zinedine Zidane. That's where you have to go to. And growing up with it, we've dealt with it. I've certainly dealt with it all my life, so nothing shocks me. And to be fair to them, in terms of what the lows they go to, they've been pretty well behaved. So pat on the head, well done to you. Keep coming back, keep lighting the comments up, gets it out there further. Good for you.
And also well done to you and Celtic this weekend. Of course, you made it back-to-back wins from your opening 2 games. A 2-0 victory over Hibs away. Watched the highlights earlier, and obviously you had the job done in the first half. Easily could have been more. I feel if Kyogo had his shooting boots on, it could have easily been 7 or 8. And it almost felt like you took pity on them in the remainder of that game after Callum McGregor scoring an absolute scorcher to add to Nicholas Kuhn's early opener. But I mean, take us through the game, Mayhem.
Yeah, I think it was a good performance. I've seen a lot of people saying that there's been a lot of fallout saying that they weren't overly happy with the performance because we played well in the first half, not so good in the second. I guess maybe a wee bit harsh. But yeah, certainly, obviously, the first half we were at our free-flying best, and really sort of highlighting at a venue that we've only won 4 of the last 15 visits, and obviously Brendan Rodgers' record there is notoriously poor. So we knew that going there was going to be tough, no matter what state Hibs are in, and at the moment they are in a state. I mean, I think in the build-up they were talking that 15 players are out of contract next season. That club is in an absolute mess. They've obviously got David Gray in, a former player, obviously scored that winner in the cup final where they beat that lot 3-2. So he's obviously a legend of the club. So hopefully they get a wee bit of time. They've gone through so many managers now: Neil Lennon, Jack Ross, was it Montgomery and
Sean Maloney as well?
Yeah, Maloney, and then that fella that come up from down south.
Who came up from down south to Hibs?
They come from whatever, but yeah, they've gone through a few, signed a lot of players that haven't worked out, so they're not in a good space. And obviously, they had a really disappointing result against St Mirren on the opening day. They were easily beaten 3-0, but again, it's been a poor place for us to go. We've struggled there, and from the offset, we looked at it, unnamed, unchanged side from obviously the 4-0 victory over Kilmarnock. I mean, Kasper Schmeichel must be wondering why he's been signed. He could still be sitting on a beach in Marbella and he'd have kept 2 clean sheets. So, it's been a real strong start. And yeah, within the first couple of minutes, nice early goal. Kyogo gets the ball on the edge of the box, shifts, hits it, decent save from the keeper. But James Forrest, who's playing like a man that's rolling back the years, is first there, cuts it across. Nicholas Kuhn makes it 2 out of 2. And from that point on, it was not plain sailing. Hibs had a period in the second half, but we were completely in control, and especially, like I said, in the first half, again, Kyogo latches onto a short back pass and could have broken this Houdini effect where he hasn't scored away from home since I think it's like November last year. He hasn't scored away from home, but puts the ball wide. But we didn't have to wait too much longer. Callum McGregor picking the ball up 25 yards out, cuts across it beautifully, flies in. And basically then that's game done. And yeah, on another day, we hit the bar, ball whipped in, and the defender clears it onto his own bar. It could have been 3. If that goes in, then maybe, the Hibs players' heads go down and it really has a thumping. But they dug in. Second half comes around and we see the return of the bald prince, Adam Idah, the athlete he is. Paulo Bernardo obviously made his debut.
He's getting called up to the Olympics.
So it was a solid 7 out of 10 performance. It's always going to be difficult to go to Easter Road. We did see Kyogo going down, clutching his arm, which obviously he's had problems with before. Almost like we could have seen this coming. MJ ends up playing striker for us.
He called it last week, and it's actually happened.
And then he goes for a challenge with the keeper, 50-50 in the box, and it looks like the keeper follows through, and he takes a pretty hefty clash to the face. So he possibly may be a doubt for next week. So God knows who comes in if Mikey Johnson isn't fit. So yeah, overall solid. Like I said, 7 out of 10, 6 points on the board. Brendan, you can really see the development of the team this season. Obviously, that we saw some results in pre-season, but you never want to get carried away. But obviously, when pre-season goes well, it's a platform, and we seem to have taken that platform into the season. 2 clean sheets, 6 goals, 6 points, and all that we're missing now. We've been down this road before.
Oh, we have.
All we're missing there is some lovely big new signers holding the scarf above their head, and just really taking us on to the next level, and allowing us to flourish. I mean, the left side isn't as much as an issue for me at the moment as it would have been. Like Mieida's come back. Coombe started really well on the right. James Forrest again is rolling back the years, but I can't see him continuing that all season just through age.
Yeah.
So for me, the real problem areas is striker, because we know that Kyogo has his injury issues. Hopefully that'll be sorted sooner rather than later. I watched Adam Idah come on for Norwich on the weekend, and I don't want to say that he was playing like a player that didn't want to get injured because he was maybe had a move, but he was playing like a player that potentially had a move coming. Not going into 50-50s. Still making those dynamic runs on the channel, but it certainly felt like he was maybe 90%, making sure that nothing went wrong. Maybe that's me being incredibly optimistic. And then again, centre back, probably the only blemish is that Liam Scales gets himself into some really strange situations. In a game that we were incredibly in control of, and I hate digging the guy out. It feels, again, I feel really guilty about it, because this is for me. I think this is a guy playing at the absolute ceiling. He is playing at his absolute maximum,
and it's not the case that you're using him as a scapegoat in terms of taking any negatives away from the performance.
Just some of the decision making, and look, I think he's proven himself. He is a squad player. Right? I think he's better than Stephen Welsh. We God knows when Narowski's going to come back. He's obviously proved to Brendan that he's better than Lager Bielka, because Lager Bielka isn't involved. So I think he's completely cemented. That he's got a new contract. He's going to be here. But I just think he should be the kind of player that, when we're playing Ross County at home and we go, all right, maybe this guy needs a rest, he can come in. Or, we've got a cup tie, he comes in. Absolutely fine with that. I think he's completely earned that. Playing literally all the last season and delivering a double, he's earned that. Fair play. But I just don't think he is the, he should be the starting centre back.
In order to take the next steps, he is not a long-term solution.
I'm thinking about the Champions League and some of the position he gets himself into against Hibs. If that's against the elite of Europe, but we're going to be heavily punished for that. So we'll see. I thought Greg Taylor had another game. I know a lot of people. I'm not his biggest fan. I like Greg. I think he puts in 100%. Plays that inverted role really, really well. Alistair Johnson, isn't playing like a man that's only had about 24 hours rest since the Copa America. And it really does give me the fear every time Ralston comes on, because I think that guy struggles to pass the ball forward. But pretty comfortable in the end. They did hit the bar, Hibs, in the second half. I think Nui or someone like that they signed from Fulham for an undisclosed fee, come on and look decent. We may see more of him, because obviously next week with Hibs in the Cup, but obviously it's Celtic Park. So, I think overall, really good performance. Happy with it. Like I said, it could have been more. We could have been out of sight in the first half. But overall, a decent performance. And certainly, I think we're a level above what we were, at this point last season, if we're comparing the two. And I think at the start of last season, we were going, yeah, we've won, but Jesus, we weren't great.
Yeah.
The dynamism in the team, when Hattati and O'Reilly get on the ball, and, obviously Callum McGregor, especially in the first half, was at his free-flying best. So, yeah, happy with it. Great start. Long may it continue.
Yeah, no, absolutely a massive start and a comfortable one in terms of the individual performances. Like you said, James Forrest rolling back the years. It's obviously not going to be the case that he does it week in, week out, because he's 34 years of age now. Correct me if I'm wrong, and is going to be someone who would play about. I think long term he'd probably play about around 70% of the games going forward, and so could be an area that Rodgers goes in to explore. But I think, like you said, I think the two main striker has always been one from the very start, and especially with Kyogo's injury concerns with his arm, and I felt his questionable finishing as well definitely gave me doubts personally. And I know it came out this week that you were in advanced talks with Adam Idah, and the club now seem keen to cough up the 6 million that Norwich have demanded, and fingers crossed that gets over the line fairly quickly over the next week or so. Hypothetically thinking that Kyogo's on the sidelines, Mikey Johnson, who isn't a striker anyway, regardless, is the next best option to Kyogo, and so that Adam Idah deal going through, the sooner the better. And then, like you said, with centre backs, like you said, like Liam Scales is at his peak. This is probably the highest level he could perform at, but definitely a department where you're playing alongside Carter Vickers. I feel Celtic can certainly attract someone of the same calibre as Carter Vickers. Like, we mentioned before, Chris Mepham, who is in fact being linked with a move away, seen in recent days, being linked with the likes of Anderlecht and some other championship clubs and European clubs abroad. And so, yeah, no, by all means, I feel there's still work to be done for Brendan in order to ensure that Celtic can provide to be good competition in Europe and maintain the levels of performances in the league domestically.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, the start has proven that, if we give him the players, you can take them and we can really kick on. And that's what we need to do. We've got the foot firmly on their neck now. We just need to squeeze down and, just allow this team to flourish, and we could. It's extremely early days, but the form has been fantastic, and it sets you up to start thinking like this could be a really special season. We just need to make sure that we do the right things and we don't fumble the bag, which the board is notoriously fantastic at doing. So, yeah, hopefully, I think we need two strikers, to be honest. So, it's taken us this long to get, anywhere close to those advanced negotiations for Adam Idah. But I still think, he comes in and he kind of battles Kyogo for that spot and they rotate. And then, you need another one there. Maybe you can understand if that was maybe a bit of a project. But I think, for Celtic or for any sort of big football club, that is going to be playing as many games as you expect to be playing as we do, going deep in 3 competitions, European games. I think, the bare minimum you would want is 3 strikers. If one gets injured, then, you've obviously got those 2 to fall back on.
Absolutely, yeah. And especially with European football there as well, where you're going to be playing twice a week for the majority of the first 6 months. It's just good to have that rotation available to you.
Yeah, but we're not happy. I've voiced that many times with how long it's taken and how this should have all been done before a ball was kicked in the league. Not quite at full panic stations as of yet. And I think if we got Idah in, over the next couple of days or whatever, that would ease things a bit. I think Brendan said that he wants he wants a few. I think we were linked with that Hugo Bueno, so I think that tells you that he probably wants another left back. We only have one left back in the squad. Obviously, Greg Taylor gets injured. Where do you go? So back to trying to find Bernabé wherever he's hiding.
Oh God!
So
still on the book somewhere, isn't he?
So I think that tells you that he probably wants a left back, centre back, and at the absolute minimum, a striker. And I think if in a perfect world, he'd probably want another winger as well, because I think he probably sees James Rice being that rotational option for Kuhn. Maeda is probably his first choice on the left, so someone to rotate and come in there. But overall, in terms of performances, you can't knock it. To start Flag Day off in the way we did, and then go to one of the most difficult venues in the league, and come away comfortable winners. And it could have been more. Very very pleasing stuff. And like I said, it changes to cup football next week, and Hibs come to Celtic Park, so we'll be hoping for a repeat of a similar performance, and hopefully a few more goals. In a perfect world, we'll have at least one more person on the books there to ease that threshold of the games that will be coming up.
Absolutely. Well, before we move down south, I was actually going to bring up another striker who has been hot property as of late in Scotland, and that was Bojan Majowski, who had seemed to have given his final farewells to the Aberdeen fans over the weekend after a 3-1 victory, and is on his way to Girona. Huge loss for Aberdeen, by all means. He was a standout player for them last season. How much did that prove to be costly for Aberdeen going forward?
I don't think they're going to be able to replace him.
No.
I don't know the fee they've got for him, but I hope they've held out for I think they were sort of quoting in around 5 million. I hope they've held out. I think
it was 5 million that they agreed to,
and got that fee. The league needs to do it. The league needs to start doing this and understand. Let's be honest, right? Majowski is not a £5 million player, right? As soon as he goes to Girona, right, he becomes a 10-15 million pound player as soon as he walks through the door and puts that shirt on.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Of course. Yeah.
It's only because he was scoring goals for Aberdeen that apparently he's classed as a 5 million player. So Aberdeen have been completely ripped off again, as do most Scottish teams get absolutely ripped off. But I'm glad at least that they set their valuation and they got it. But yeah, what a player! Thoroughly happy that he won't be playing against us. So I'm sorry about that. From a real selfish perspective,
see that as a complimentary.
He was a player that rose to the occasion, loved the big games, and that'll take some replacing. Whether you get, I don't think you can sign a £5 million player. I doubt Aberdeen will go out and do that anyway, but I doubt you could sign anyone for 5 million that would come and give the presence, play with the confidence and deliver the numbers that Majowski did. He was a super player. It's a shame that he's out of the league because on one hand, because like I said, he builds the league up having players like that, but from a selfish perspective, absolutely happy he won't be running at Liam Scales anymore.
Probably an individual that brought some strong competition from outside the two Glasgow clubs last season. And by all means, I know there'll be Hearts who will be in and around there. Whether Lawrence Shanklin repeats the number of goals that he managed to provide last season, I think Bojan Majowski's got himself I think it's a great career move, by all means. Going to a Spanish club who has now got European football next season and have just lost their big striker, I think it's a huge opportunity for him as a player to further raise his stock. And best of luck to Bojan, and will be good to see him do well away from Aberdeen. And by all means, of course, it's a kind of a bit of a blessing in disguise for Liam Scales more specifically, but probably many defenders in the Cinch Premiership.
yeah, I think every team, will be happy that they're not lining up against him because he was a fantastic player. And obviously Aberdeen have started the season really well. They're 2 for 2 as well. But this has been a rumor that's been floating around for a little while. They've maybe done well to keep hold of him for as long as they had done. But it's always disappointing, once you play a couple of games and then it happens in the middle of August, and now they've only got, they've got 2 weeks to go and replace him. And sometimes we can see how tricky that can be. Good luck to him, and I'm sure they'll score a load of goals wherever he is, and you'd imagine they get a wee bit more service there. And I'm sure he'll impress.
Yeah, hopefully, absolutely. I mean, if he costs $5 million, I'm surprised Errol Bullitt didn't make a cheeky little move for him.
Yeah, that's he would have done well in the Championship, but obviously, that was obviously the most attractive option on the table for him. Like you said, European football. Like you said, in terms of the player himself, you will see that as a very good career move.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot about him because he is a fantastic player. Obviously, someone we were linked with as well. We didn't want to pay the $5 million. Is what it is. But I don't think anyone would have been disappointed. Maybe on a European level, but domestically talking, if we had gone and signed Miovski, I don't think there would have been too many grumbles because we've seen what you can do against us. So I'm sure that he'll do very well wherever he goes.
Yeah, 100%. Top striker on his day. And yeah, definitely proved that last season. It's a move that he is well and truly deserved to earn. And so, yeah, best of luck to him. Well, speaking of Championship, let's go and move down south and talk about the not-so-shagging Bluebirds on the day. Disappointing performance. But the result was disappointing. I didn't think the performance was... I thought we were okay. I mean, I just thought we were... we had majority of possession, but just very slow in our attacking build-up. We lacked so much intensity. We lacked that zip going forward. I thought Ramsey looked completely off it. Tanner wasn't at the races either, but I feel Errol Bullitt will definitely make some big changes in the week against Bristol Rovers. Will give an opportunity to some of the players who came on at the weekend who looked really sharp, the likes of Ruben Colwill, who looked really good. I thought Chris Willock had a great debut as well. I think he's probably going to be one of our best attacking outlets this season, with wanting to take on players and create opportunities. Robbo I felt a little bit bad for. I don't think he really got any good opportunities come his way. I felt he had to drop deep a lot, courtesy of Ramsey. I think he just completely slowed up our tempo. I love Ramsey to death, but I feel maybe it might be the time where he's that individual where he comes on in the final 20 minutes or so to see if he can make an impact, because I think he just hasn't got the legs to play 90 minutes, and I'm amazed he lasted 90 minutes as well. But yeah, no, it was again, the 2 goals were easily preventable. It's poor man marking for the first goal. Second goal, Jack Clark is just invited into so much space, and Perry and G doesn't close him down. It allows him to cut onto his right foot to fire home for the second. And so yeah, the goals were very disappointing, but like I said, I don't think we played bad at all. I just didn't feel we utilised possession to the best of our causes. Surprisingly, and you can clip me on this, I thought Yaku Mete came on and looked quite sharp. He was definitely more impactful than Ollie Tanner was. But this is the thing. Look, I can come onto this platform and slate certain players, but I will acknowledge them if they put in a good performance, and Yaku Mete certainly did that when he came on. So he's definitely thrown himself in contendership to start on the right flank. And then at the same time, we only had, I think, only 2 or 3 of our new signings play. Obviously, we had Callum Chambers make his debut as well. He looked competent and okay. And like I said, Chris Willock had a good performance. Wilfred Kanga came on, and I think it was a bit too little too late at that point. But I'd be intrigued. I'd be willing to see him start against Bristol Rovers tomorrow night and see what he can produce and provide some strong competition in a position that we've been needing to strengthen for the last 2-3 seasons. And so I hope that Kanga, when given that opportunity, can have an impact. Alex Robertson isn't match fit, and while Ghazi is not match fit, so we're still lacking some of those new players that we brought in over this summer. But unfortunately, they just, like I said, El Ghazi hasn't played football for an entire season. Robertson had a serious hamstring injury in the second half of last season with Portsmouth, and so he hasn't had many minutes on the pitch in recent times. So I feel, like I said, you can't start a fire without a spark, and I feel when we get these players more familiar with the squad and familiar with the way we play and match fit, I'm confident that we can get firing sooner rather than later, hopefully, because we have a huge set of fixtures coming up. Of course, Bristol Rovers in the Cup, which isn't going to be that wouldn't be that important. I think it would just be a fantastic opportunity for some of the players who featured on the weekend and some of the youth prospects to make an impression, hopefully a good one. But then we go to Turf Moor next weekend against a side who completely pasted the Championship the last time they were here. And so not going to be an easy game by all means. And then after that is the big one down in Jackland against Swansea, and by all means, I mean it's a game that you always want to win, and it's a game that really does send me into a dark place when we don't, and we haven't done that for a while now when we've gone to visit them. And so fingers crossed we can get these players up to a good condition to feature predominantly for us, and hopefully the likes of El Ghazi can rediscover his best form. I hope that Kanga can have an impact. Robertson can come in and make that step up from League One football from last season, and I think with that, we certainly have an exciting group of players if that does come to fruition. And Ruben fucking Colwill, man, please tell me that guy lost a bet. Because, I mean, I said the same thing about Ramsey back in 2016, but this is 10 times worse. Bleach blonde hair does not suit you. You look like Kaisuke Honda, a B-Tech one at the very least. Horrific Barnet, man. But if it makes him play better and makes him play like Ramsey in his prime, then I'll take everything back. But from the first glance, I'm not impressed. Not impressed in the slightest, but he came on, he got some minutes, and I feel like I said, it's a big season now for him. He's got to really cement his place in that first 11, and honestly, I think that spot that Ramsey occupies at the moment is there for the taking, based off of what took place during that game against Sunderland. Just like I said, looked completely off it and really did slow down our attacking build-up. We just need that zip going forward. We need that energy, that intensity, the urgency to get at defenders. And so I'm hoping when we get these key players that we brought in to full fitness, they can really take us up a notch and see where we go in the following weeks. Yeah,
look, it's obviously early doors as well.
Yeah, of course. I don't want to. Yeah, you can't write them off. I mean, we've got 45 more games to play, and of course, in the heat of the moment, there's always going to be people, including myself, who are going to be highly frustrated, especially after having such a good pre-season. And I know you can't take that for granted either, as you mentioned previously, but it always builds up your hopes in terms of how your season turns out. But like you said, can't take it for granted, and just gotta hope that those we can put it behind us and we get on with the remaining 45 games.
Yeah, and like you said, you've got obviously the cup tie tomorrow, which will, I'm sure, comes a welcome distraction. Like you said, give some players some game time to get some minutes in their legs and prove themselves. And obviously, it's always nice to beat a team from Bristol, whichever Tim Pot team is rattling about. You may as well go and paste them.
They're League Two apparently. I think.
They?
I don't know. I think that they're probably League One actually.
I thought they were playing in the Isthmian League, to be honest, so that irrelevant. But I thought their next game was probably going to be #United. But yeah, look, I haven't seen the game. I haven't caught up on the highlights. But obviously, I wanted to watch the game. I mean, what's this shit about Sky Sports Plus, right? And I can't. You can watch all these games, and they go on the Sky Go app, and I have to put myself watching fucking Norwich or Oxford. And by the way, Oxford, Mark Harris. He looks like a player that could have done a job for someone. Or Leeds versus Portsmouth, which again was also a very entertaining game, 3-3.
Probably, yeah, easily the best game in the Championship that day.
But I wanted to be able to watch. Fair enough, but yeah, like I said, start of the season, there's always a great buzz. You don't want to overreact. I'm sure Leeds fans will be walking out of Elland Road disappointed that they've drawn with a team that's just come up. And Sunderland, like I said, have been a very stable Championship team. So the fact that it's not like it was Portsmouth or Oxford or one of the newcomers, and there's worse results around the league. No one likes losing, but I'm sure Norwich fans are leaving very disappointed because they've been absolutely outclassed by Oxford on the day. So yeah, it's always sort of come down to reality. Like I said, in the moment when you lose is incredibly emotional, and you're ready to bin everyone off. But as we quickly revert back and detour, Mark Harris, is he permanent? Is he away permanently now? Or is
he was away permanently. We sold him last summer. Probably not for a substantial fee, but I think Errol Bullitt had made it clear that he wasn't going to be part of his plans going forward, and got a good offer and a good project as well at Oxford United, who earned promotion through the playoffs last season. And again, they're a team that got a few former Bluebirds on their books. Josh Murphy being there as well, but obviously it was a project that sold to them at the time. Dropping down
Will Volks is there as well.
Volks is there as well. Yep. Oh no, he's Sheffield Wednesday. I'm pretty sure there is one more Bluebird I'm missing, or it might just be them too. I'm not too sure because I always get them confused, because I know Sheffield Wednesday got a couple of former City players. Derby have a couple City players, and so do Oxford United. But I always tend to mix up which ones are there. But Mark, if I remember rightly, Mark Harris and Josh Murphy are on the books at Oxford. Derby have Curtis Nelson and Mendes Lang, the Colombian king. And then there's Sheffield Wednesday, who have got Volks, and they got three actually. They got Volks, Aidan Flint, and
Volks plays for
Patterson.
Oxford.
Does he play for Oxford? Oh, that must have been recently then. Oh, it must have been recently when he went there.
It's this summer as well. They signed that Matty Phillips as well. I think the boy from West Brom.
Matty Phillips, yeah. He got let go at the end of the season.
I think Volks was out of contract at Wednesday, yeah, but he was Joe Bennett as well.
Joe Bennett, that's who I was forgetting. Joe Bennett.
Left back.
He's definitely someone I'd probably take back now, just for depth in left back. Because, well, I mean, good thing we mentioned Joe Bennett there. There's been a few bits of updates regarding injuries. So Jeremy Lou Collins, has been ruled out for 2 months. Isaac Davis has been ruled out for 4 months. And I mean, like, this guy can't catch a break. I mean, he had injury problems before he went out on loan. Goes out on loan, has a good season out in Belgium, and then comes back and then again ruled out for a substantial amount of time. And I just don't, I don't know, can this guy ever get a break? Because I've been dying to see this man in a City shirt again, because he's one of those wild cards that we do possess on our books. And so, yeah, it's a big shame. But thankfully, Chris Willock has come along to just comfort me a little bit more, because he's also a winger who likes to take on defenders. Thankfully.
But yeah, overall disappointing. But
the outcome was very disappointing. Really disappointing.
No overreaction yet.
No, not yet. No, I've still got that buzz, mate. I've still got that buzz. You know, like I said, I'm not going to let the first game of the season dictate my views in terms of where we finish and who we should get rid of and whether Errol Bullett's the right man to take us forward. Absolutely not. I mean, like I said, this guy built solid foundations at this club last season. He took us to mid-table, which I really thought we exceeded expectations. I really thought we were going to be in a dogfight last season, and he came in and gave us some fantastic moments. I mean, the Ollie Tanner goal at the City Stadium against the Jacks, beating Bristol home and away. We went through some really strong purple patches. Of course, the bad ones came along the way, but thankfully, I think the good one, and we had a tough start as well last season as well when we opened up against Leeds and Leicester, who had just come down from the Premier League, and so I think Bullett won't be hitting the self-destruct button as of yet either. I think he'll definitely have some decisions to make. I think there will be plenty of rotation midweek and even on the weekend against Burnley next Saturday. So I'm just hoping he gets those calls right and we can turn a corner.
Plenty to be optimistic about.
100%. And like I said, I mean, look, I'm just looking forward to seeing the likes of Robertson playing and Anwar El Ghazi playing and seeing how these boys playing together can become a formidable force, and hopefully they can. So, long way to go. Early days, mate.
100%.
But I tell you what, I mean, I did watch that Leeds Portsmouth game, and it really does seem that the Ipswich spirit of last season has really replicated over to the likes of Portsmouth and Oxford United, who, I mean, Portsmouth opening up with a result against Leeds at Elland Road is definitely not an easy feat to achieve on the opening day, but
rode their luck. Like, what did Leeds hit the bar 3 times in the first 15 minutes?
Oh, 100%, yeah. No, Leeds could have been out of sight.
Yeah, but kind of there was two versions of Leeds United last season. There was this real sort of inconsistent team up until, I don't know, sort of 7-8 games in, and then they hit this crazy run.
Yeah.
They pulled back the points that they had squandered, and then it got to obviously the end of last season, and they just let the season fall away, and obviously lost another championship playoff final. So yeah, you look at their team. Obviously, they've lost some big names, but they've also retained some big names. Willie Nonto's still there. Dan James is still there. They've got Roden in on a permanent. Obviously, Somerville has gone to West Ham.
He has gone to West Ham, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. But obviously Joseph was up top. I don't think he had his best game, and ultimately Leeds should win the game as well. The Arison misses an absolute sitter. Like, it's easier. It's literally easier to score after the one that he's just buried, where he's had to make it 3-3. I mean, I can't believe he missed it. but yeah, it was a fun game. Championship football is fantastic to watch. It always is. And, again, props to Oxford United. I mean, what a result. What a
Yeah,
fantastic
100,
result. A
100%.
team
Yeah.
a team in 2 years that doesn't even know where they're going to be playing football. So in 2 years' time, they can't play their home matches there anymore. That's why they're trying to build a new stadium, discussing ground shares. And all the while all that noise is going on in the background, just casually getting promoted and then beating one of the favourites to go up.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, if Oxford United fancy moving down to South Wales to pitch share with us, we can do a little deal having Mark Harris back on our books if we need him.
And Joe Bennett, apparently.
And Joe Bennett as well for left back. 100%. Well, I'll tell you what, Mayhem. I'm not a betting man anymore. But if I was still... anymore. No, I just had to quickly clarify that. But if I still was, I would honestly put my house, my job, my mum's house, my dad's house on the line for Wayne Rooney to be the first man to get the boot in the Championship.
Yeah, I can't say that I watched.
And by the way, I'm saying this after I can't remember the manager of Preston, but got sacked earlier today. But but Rooney next.
Some strange decisions going. Very early, the Rafe Rovers manager was sacked after a game as well. Apparently, Preston have decided after one game against Sheffield United that that's not the guy to take them forward. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I think his name will give him time. I think he's obviously still living off of the job he did at Derby. I didn't follow what he did in the States, whether he was successful over there. I'm not sure. And obviously the Birmingham City job kind of haunts him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Birmingham fans are looking north to Blackburn and seeing them absolutely dismantle Derby County now. John Eustace is in there.
I thought that's what his name was. Ryan Lowe got the sack from Preston after one game.
Must have been
very strange.
Hell of a shit. It's been a hell of a shit performance. But
I don't know if it had something to do with the pre-season. I don't know if there's been something that's gone on behind closed doors, a disagreement between Ryan and the board, and he hasn't been given assurances that he was promised. I'm not too sure. I'm sure something will come out about it, most probably. But
probably had a 3-hour-long podcast, and that's why the owner's an absolute bore bag. That's what they all do now. But I think good to have Championship football back.
100%. Yeah.
That said, I enjoy it very much. Like I said, try and follow Cardiff and watch as many games as possible. Maybe I can try and figure out how to work Sky Go properly, and maybe that'll allow me to watch a few more Cardiff games.
Is it an extended package that you have to pay monthly for? I've been in Sweden now for 7 years. We don't have Sky out here.
It's a free channel that they've just added on at no extra cost. And then if you have it on the actual box, you just press red and you choose the game. But for some reason on the Sky Go,
logically that was how it would work. Yeah.
For some reason on the app, you can't choose the game. You just get stuck. So update the app. And then obviously today to round out the Championship, Luton start their bid back to the Premier League, and Scott Parker's Burnley roll into town.
Be an interesting game. I remember we sat here a few weeks ago and said that we were pretty confident that Luton and Rob Edwards would be a team not to be put down. Like I said, he's done a fantastic job at the club and brought them up another level when he took them to the Premier League. And again, they're no strangers to the Championship, and by all means will be one of those teams that will be up there. Scott Parker as well at Burnley, who's obviously got a very familiar portfolio, being in the Championship, being at the helm of Fulham and Bournemouth, and so it'll be a very
great
tight.
track record.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, no, by all means, it'll be a very tight contest tonight. It should be a good game to watch as well. A very fun spectacle to see, arguably to the Championship's best sides in the league at the moment, going head to head on the opening day. Well, it's their opening day essentially, but the
opening weekend.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't really put a winner on that.
Luton 5-0.
Well, there you go. This is why I'm no longer a betting man. I tell you what, though, if you are right, I swear to God,
I'll pick out the top. I'll pick out the first scorer as well. Adebayo.
I knew you were going to go. It was either going to be Adebayo or Carlton Morris. You were going to go for.
I fancy him to have a big season. He was linked with Premier League clubs. May still go. We know what the August window's like. But yeah, the top player really started to find his feet in the second half of the Premier League season last year.
No, absolutely, and he's a big boy.
I think it'd be a force. I know that Carlton Morris at that level, I don't want to put him down too much because again, it was a difficult job that he had, and he played every game for Luton last year, and he was obviously a vocal point and their talisman. But I think at that level again, he really thrives. And those two between them, I imagine they'll score a lot of goals. And I think Burnley will, begrudgingly, I think they'll do well. I think Scott Parker knows the league, but it's just how much is he influenced? How much is it his team? It may take a little while to settle. It may not. It may come out flying, but I think it may take a little while to settle in and for them to really start to find their feet.
Yeah, because I think they've managed to maintain the majority of their squad from their Premier League campaign, but obviously it may be a big contrast in terms of playing under Vincent Kompany last season and the season before. But
it always tells me a lot that see if a side gets relegated and they manage to keep basically all their players. To me, that always says your recruitment probably wasn't there. With Ipswich and Southampton, if these boys aren't in trying to take, away some of your talent, then your recruitment was probably off.
Yeah.
If you're able to retain.
I'll tell you what, though, I didn't realise that Wout Weghorst was still on their books. He actually is, and I don't know if he's been wanted out of Burnley for the last 3 odd seasons now. It felt like they bought him the last time. I mean, not the last season when they were in the Premier League, but the season before that. And it just felt like he's just been jumping from every European club possible, just doing everything he can in his power to not play Championship football.
Absolute journeyman career, scoring fucking no goals as well, but at least he works hard.
He does work hard. He headbutted Messi one time in a World Cup.
But I think we're nearly wrapping up. Do you want to talk about the most pointless game of the season that there is completely?
Didn't watch it.
No. All I've seen is that clip of Onana and the Haaland's penalty.
Yep, same here. Well, there we go. We're that covered.
People absolutely slating him, saying that they won't do anything because he does this. Man, it's a penalty fucking shootout. There's plenty of keepers that do stupid shit to try and put people off. Onana is an absolute scapegoat, and he gets a lot of unfair criticism.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
I mean, more you should be looking at fucking 55-year-old Johnny Evans that misses the pen. Dickhead.
God, I did see that penalty. Christ. Fucking hell.
Is it a slight worry? Just because obviously I know that someone that I imagine did watch it, someone you may have spoke to post the match, I don't know, but obviously Kian, big City fan. Is it a worry for City that in the last 2 games against, let's be honest, a pretty average United team, they haven't been able to beat them in 90 minutes?
Well, we funny enough, we spoke about it today, and Kian is heavily concerned with the lack of attacking, like striker options, because they got Haaland and no one else. They've just let go. Alvarez has just gone to Atletico for
I know
80
how he
million
feels.
euros. Sorry?
I know how he feels.
Me too. But no, they literally got Haaland on their books, and that is it. Alvarez was off to Atletico for 80 million euros, which is an unbelievable amount of money that they managed to coop for him. Of course, Liam Delap departed for, I think it was Ipswich earlier in the summer for 20 million. So
it's a strange signing as well.
It is. I feel like they're probably 5 years too late because that guy was a fucking baller on FM18. But I don't know.
Just their data analyst saying this guy was absolutely fantastic for me in my save last year. Need to sign him.
Mate, he's at Barcelona now at the age of 26. But very bizarre signing, and I don't know. I feel like you said, it's one of those signings. And again, I was going to say about Liam Delap. I mean, this guy has had Championship football experience on the books of Hull and Stoke, but never really set the league alight, did he?
Yeah, done fuck all. Who knows? Sometimes. I mean, I doubt very many people would say Harry Kane set the league alight. I guess there's maybe an argument.
Who knows? We may be sitting here in May thinking, well, we may be sitting here in May and he bags 20 goals.
25, yeah.
Yeah.
Ipswich finished 7th.
Exactly. But don't worry, we'll be the first two to sit here and say we were wrong.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we will be, though.
I don't think so either, no. Unless we want to go back 5 years in time, but who knows? But no, sorry, we diverted away from the most exciting game of the year that I always look forward to, the Community Shield. But no, Kian did say he's mainly concerned about the striking department because, Haaland, one, he's become very injury prone. He needs at least 8 to 12 chances to put one of them away.
And he does have games where he is clinical, and he is obviously a monster. But I'm of the.
It's more of the injury aspect.
I'm of the opinion, and again, this could be class. I don't think the guy is elite. Like, I think City's targets will be to win everything, and I don't think they have an elite striker. I think he's world class. I think he would get into most teams, but is this guy an elite finisher? You look at the people that they've had, like Carlos Tevez, Sergio Aguero, these guys, elite.
Yeah.
I think this guy is and he may develop, miraculously, we've got to remember he's still quite young. So he may develop on and, build that composure in and, go on to score even more than he did in his first season. Because I know people who be like, oh, mate, he's not elite. Look how many goals he scored in his first season. Yeah, okay. But how many chances does he get? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 3 times the amount of goals that he returned. So, yeah. But no, I do feel City. Obviously they brought in that Savinho, who's a winger, and I think that's pretty much all the business they've done thus far this transfer window. And I mean, I don't know what Pep's got in mind. I don't know if he's going to be in the market to spend that sort of money as Atletico did on Alvarez. I mean, who knows? It may be one of those deals that had to be constructed in order for them to pass FPR or something like that. One of those stupid shit things. But who knows? He may take that money and go into the market, and again, he could possibly look at a striker who could provide strong competition with Haaland and make a statement to be in that elite player that they lack as a number 9.
I think you do well for 80 million to go and find that player in this market, but I think you could, certainly options out there. I'm sure they will bolster in that department. like you said, Haaland does seem to be injured quite a lot. But yeah, in terms of the game, yeah, it's just a pre-season friendly where they give out a shield, and it doesn't really mean much. But yeah, it's maybe a slight concern that United seem to know how to play against them.
I think the only thing I can sort of play the other side of the sword on was probably the fact that City played a few of their youngsters in that team and didn't take that game. They didn't take that game seriously. I mean, they started a midfielder who Kean raves about, but I've never seen him play before. I can't remember, O'Reilly. Never seen him play, but then
great name.
I know, right? And then, of course, there was the likes of like Oscar Bob in there. Rico Lewis, I think, played. I mean, we've seen now that Stefan Ortega has. It looks like he's been given the torch to be City's number one for next season. Do you feel that was a justified decision made there by Pep Guardiola, or do you feel you'd still pick Ederson over him?
I mean, Ederson is such a baller. You've got to have real confidence to swap that. And I think it would go against the generic opinion. But, Mikel Arteta did it with Raya and Ramsdale. I don't think many people saw that as a position that needed changed. Looking back, Sir Alex Ferguson used to do it so much, drop someone, let him go, change something that people didn't agree with, and it worked out. And look, Ortega played fantastically well whenever he was called on last season, so he's no slouch. But strange, I thought, that Ederson, if you have Ederson, and he's not old in keeper terms,
No, he's not. I think, in keeper's terms, he's probably in his peak right now, because he's probably early 30s, mid 30s.
Yeah, I think around that. So I think he's still got plenty of years in it, and if he's being told he's second choice, then I imagine he won't be at City much longer. Someone will take him, but maybe, like you said, Pep feels it's time that Ortega steps up and he's the future, maybe. But I would still be back in Ederson.
Just purely based off of.
Again, I just think
the honours he's won and what he brings as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, just going from personal experience, and obviously the troubles that obviously that Celtic had with keepers, and then obviously we had Joe Hart that raised the bar, and then obviously Casper's come in, looks so assured.
Yeah.
So having that just that confidence behind you, I think is massive. But we'll see. I'm sure that City will click into gear next week as they open up against Chelsea.
Oh yeah, they open up against Chelsea. Bloody hell, that's a strange
opener.
What are your thoughts on Chelsea? I mean, I didn't really expect to give too much time to discuss the Premier League opening up next week and getting underway, but Chelsea look like a team that are in huge trouble at the moment. They look lost.
They look like a team that's gone out and spent £1 billion on a load of projects over the last 2 seasons or whatever, and they realise now that they have too many players. Oh wait, that's exactly what they did. At least they can sing about celery, though. So that's all right.
Oh, what a fucking tune that is.
Look, again, pre-season is nothing to obviously delve into, and they were missing some key players. But there was a lot of players there that you would expect to see in the start of the season, and they didn't look great there. I imagine that Maresca will play fairly similar to Pep. I don't know how close Pochettino was playing to that, so maybe they are all having to learn a completely new system. Obviously, Cole Palmer will be back. They'll have Cucurella back, who obviously had incredible Euros. They'll have Caicedo back, who's had a fantastic Copa America. So they'll have some people back to really strengthen and bolster. I still think they need a number 9. I hear that Arsenal are linked with Norseman from Napoli. I mean, if you've spent £1 billion, what's 80 million? Go and
I've
go
seen that
and get this guy.
they're well. I think in terms of bringing in a striker, they've been linked with an Atletico Madrid striker, Samu Omarodion, I think he's pronounced, as like part of the agreement of Conor Gallagher going to Atletico. And
I think I read something today saying that was off.
Oh, is it now off?
Apparently, I don't know. Maybe they can agree. Maybe it'll go through. But
I've seen clips on that striker. He's a fucking donkey.
I don't think Nicholas Jackson's the guy. So I think they need that. But we'll see. Big job. Enzo Maresca obviously come under a lot of heat at Leicester towards the end of the season when they nearly dumped away whatever lead it was they had, 17 points or whatever. But he's won the championship and then been given a huge job. And even though Chelsea aren't in any European football, I don't think this year, it's a massive job. They really do need a real statement season to announce themselves back. And probably a lot of clearing out but you've got players there on about 22-year contracts, so it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. I mean, with Chelsea, though, they do still have Lukaku on their books. Do you feel there's even any point Chelsea going back into the market to then try and find that number 9 that they missed, where they got, obviously Nicholas Jackson isn't the best option available to you, but of course having a season under his belt, getting familiarised with the league is not a bad option going into this season. But Romelu Lukaku, who has got a track record of scoring goals, I mean, he did it at West Brom and Everton when he was younger. I thought, when he first started again at Chelsea, he did okay, and then obviously he had all that nonsense with the interview saying that he never wanted to leave Inter. Like, surely is this someone that Enzo would even look into, like, trying to force back into the side, or do you feel his days are up at Chelsea and he's off back to whichever Italian club he goes next to, because that's where he's going to?
I thought he existed, but he's better than Nicholas Jackson in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. I absolutely.
If you're looking at your squad, I don't know if he's played for him in any pre-seasons. I don't know, but surely if you're looking at the squad, you got to be thinking, all right, get him in a room, sit him down, say, look, you're my guy, you're my 9.
Yeah.
Right? Come back. Like the fans, we know football fans are fickle.
Yeah.
Right? Look, you may find it hard, right, for the first 60 minutes out there, the crowd giving you a bit of grief. But guess what? If you get up, volley and a goal, the whole narrative turns. It's Lukaku's back. He's the guy, and that's how quickly it will turn. If he says, "No, look, I'm here. Look, I've made some mistakes. I want to come play for you," bangs a goal, they win the game 1-0. Lukaku scores. Everything's forgotten. So I would be saying, "No, mate, get that 9 on you," because I don't want to play Nicholas Jackson up front.
Yeah, no, 100%. Instead of going back into the market, spending 80 million on a striker who plays abroad, who's got no experience in playing in the Premier League, and you still got Lukaku there. And again, like, he's on a ridiculous wage by all means at Chelsea. Why not utilise him? Let bygones be bygones. And the past is the past. Obviously, under different management at the time, it's a new leaf. You're going to be my guy, and you're going to make us. You're going to bring us back to where Chelsea a bit. That used to be.
Yeah, I would be having the conversations. I'm sure he has, and from those, I'm sure he's derived whether or not he's going to be a fit. The only thing that I would say is, like I said, I imagine it'll be very Pep Guardiola-esque. It'll be very high pressing. Is Lukaku the guy to offset and start that press? Does he have that kind of engine to do that for 90 minutes? Maybe not. But in terms of goal scorer, I'd still say, even after everything, probably the best one that they've got in in the club.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I don't know. I think if we're thinking realistically and in terms of what someone like Maresca has in mind, it does. I mean, again, and the rumour mill runs wild with Lukaku as well, who's been linked to the whole of Syria. Every team you can think of, he's been linked to, and he seems very keen on a move back to Italy, and he has been for a long time now, and obviously he's been able to do that on a loan basis. But hang on, I need to cough. But yeah, no, it almost feels like that. I think his time's up. He wants to go back to Italy, and it's probably going to come down to the player's wishes. So, which would have been a shame though, because I do feel he could have rediscovered his best form, and like you said, he's definitely had his moments in the Premier League at many different clubs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have to wait and see. And of course, we got the arrival of the 24-25 Premier League season next weekend. More football for us to talk about. Yeah, okay, beauty. Not as exciting as the Championship, but by all means, always gives us plenty to talk about. Well, we're going to wrap things up. Mayhem, thank you very much for this evening. Pleasure as always, and looking forward to recording next week already. I'm buzzing for this season, personally. I'm absolutely buzzing for this season. Ladies and gents, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to the Football Podcast, you can check us out on audio platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and Audible. If you'd like to check us out on the live recordings, you can head on over to our YouTube channel at The Football Booth. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and ring that bell for notifications. And until next time, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and the star.